Okay, thanks everybody for joining. My name is Scott with Abacus Next. I'm a senior trainer here with the company, and we are going to be talking about how to set up split billing matters. A very fun topic. Just by show of hands, if you could click the little hand raising button just to tell me that you can see my screen okay. Can everybody see my AbacusLaw program? Perfect. Thank you very much. And I'll assume since you responded to that you can hear me just fine. We are going to record this training session, so if you don't get everything right away, no worries. Don't feel like you need to take really intense notes, copious notes, as my mother used to say when I was in college. But we'll send this recording out to everybody, and you'll be able to review that later on. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us. You can email training@abacusnext.com. You can get all of your questions answered that way. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future webinars, please email webinars@abacusnext.com. We'd love to get your feedback there. You guys are basically the ones that determine what webinars we do in the future. So come up with some creative ideas, send them our way, and we'll work those into future webinars. So again, today we're going to be talking about split billing. Now, the thing with split billing is you kind of see split billing needed in different practice areas. Sometimes you'll find it in just about every practice area you can think of, with the exception of, usually like immigration, you don't see a lot of split billing, but, class action, you see it a lot. Family law, you see it a lot. And this could be, something where maybe the attorney is representing both parties involved in a divorce, or, which I've seen quite often, maybe the attorney is representing a child, okay, and the parents are going to be picking up, the fees and costs for that legal, whatever that process is that the attorney is working on. So there's obviously a need to know how to set up your cases to account for split billing. Now, today's webinar is designed to show you how to prepare, okay, how to set up the cases. We're not going to go through how to actually generate a bill, because you do that the same way you do any other bill. Okay, there's really no difference. So if you notice in the chat box of your GoToMeeting window, I put a little link in there. Okay, that is a link to our training videos that tell you how to generate a bill, okay, how to actually, run a bill and where to click. Okay, like I said before, there's no difference between running a bill for a split billed matter versus, just your regular old, contingency, flat fee, or hourly case. No difference, okay? You still do the same steps. Where the changes lie is in how the cases are set up and what default settings are selected for a split billed matter versus your regular single client payer matter, okay? That's why we're starting in AbacusLaw as opposed to Abacus Accounting, because you have to start there to accomplish the split billing task, all right? First things first, when it comes to split billing, you always have a master matter, okay? You always have a master matter. And then underneath that matter, you have what we call submatters, okay? And the submatters directly correlate to the number of people picking up the bill, all right? So if we stick with a very basic example that will be easy to wrap our heads around, let's say that we are doing a malpractice suit, okay? And we have two clients, okay, that we're representing, and those clients are going to split the fees and costs 50-50, all right? That means we're going to have a master matter for our malpractice suit. Then we're going to have a submatter for client A and a submatter for client B. So that's 3 total matters, okay? So that's why if I open up my matters database here and I show you my little list of cases, notice these 3 right here, okay? If you can see that there. I've got the Dr. Smith malpractice matter. Okay, that's the one that ends in 48. I've got the Dr. Smith malpractice John Harper, who is client A, and then I have Dr. Smith malpractice Sally Walters, who is client B. Okay, John's picking up 50%, Sally's picking up 50%, okay? And our master matter is the one titled just Dr. Smith malpractice. And you could even name it, you know, Dr. Smith malpractice master matter if you wanted to. Okay, you could totally do that. That would be fine. Okay, how you name it is completely up to you. Just be descriptive. Okay, be descriptive, because you're going to have to find these matters later on in accounting, and so you want to make sure that those matter names stand out. All right, so these are already created, but I'll just quickly walk through the steps of adding these matters. Of course, you can use an intake form, which a lot of people will do, and also people will use just this browse window where they just click the little add button down below. Okay, but when you click that add button, okay, and it asks you what type of matter you're going to add, make sure you put in the proper case code. You know, is this a is this a divorce? Is this a malpractice case? Okay, is this some sort of civil case here? Okay, you get to choose the case code, so make sure you choose wisely. Okay, and then once you choose that, then you can start entering in, you know, the appropriate information. So you can give it a matter name up here. So you would call this, you know, the John Smith divorce master matter or something along those lines. Okay, but what you end up with once you give that matter a name is you end up with this. You end up with this case. Okay, you end up with your master case. Okay, now I have my screens a little odd here, so don't worry about the fact that this says divorce. Don't worry about that. I'll pretend, okay, this is a malpractice suit. Okay, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and I'll fix that real quick before we even get too much farther into it. Don't worry about, again, what I'm doing here. This has nothing to do with our settings. We'll just call this a civil matter. How about that? That, well, maybe, almost. There we go. That looks better. So we've got our Dr. Smith malpractice master matter. Now, underneath our linked names tab, we've got the Dr. Smith malpractice matter linked, or name record, I should say, linked as the billing party. Okay, that is key. Every matter that you want to show in the accounting program, so in other words, any matter you're going to be billing for has to have a record linked to it as bill to. If you've done any sort of billing in this program before, you know that already, but for those who have not, you need to, you know, make sure you are linking a name record as bill to. So for a normal case, we would probably just link our client as the bill to, but in a split billing case, you want to have, to your master matter, you want to have a name record created that's actually called the same thing as the matter. Okay, so just create a name record, call it the exact same name as the matter, as the master matter, and link that name record as the billing party to the master matter. Okay, so step one, create your master matter. Step two, link the name record to the master matter as the billing party. Okay, and then step three, in our matters database, we are creating our submatters for each person that is going to be picking up the bill. So we created a submatter here called Dr. Smith malpractice John Harper. And notice when I open up that matter, notice on my link names tab, John Harper's name record is linked as the billing party. Okay, that's this other thing you're going to do. So for our master matter, we link the master name record as bill to. For our John Harper submatter, we link John Harper as the bill to. And for our other submatter, Sally Walters, we are linking Sally Walters' name record as the billing party, as the bill to. Okay? So for this scenario, where we're just splitting the bill two ways, we have three total records. We have a master matter, or I should say 3 total matters. We have a master matter, we have a submatter for John, and a submatter for Sally. Each of those people's name records are linked respectively to their matters as billing party. Okay? So I hope everybody's wrapping their heads around that. That's usually where the confusion starts to lie for some people. So if you have questions about that, or if it is not sinking in, please make sure you alert me to that in the chat box or the questions box, and we can slow it down and cover it again. Okay? But if you just look at this little browse window, it kind of makes sense. Here's our master. Okay, and I can even open this up, and I'll just call this master matter. Okay, just so it's even more descriptive. Okay, so now when I look at this, I've got my master matter, I've got Sally's submatter, and John's submatter. So as far as Abacus Law is concerned, the front office portion, as far as it is concerned, technically these are 3 separate matters. Where we tie them together is actually in the accounting program. Okay, so now that we have assigned the proper names and the proper bill tos to each of these 3 little records here, now we can go over into our accounting program, and we'll know that if we go into our matters browse window, we're going to see those matters. So now we have them inside of accounting as well. So what we need to do at this point is we need to start checking some boxes, okay, to tell the system, you know, how to handle this matter as a split billing matter. So what you're going to do next in your accounting program is you're going to click that little matters button on your toolbar. Okay, you're going to go find your master matter, and you're going to double click on your master matter to open that up. Okay, notice that opens up the matter maintenance window. This is where you set billing defaults, or just really accounting defaults in general for your individual matters. So for this master matter, what we want to do is we want to make sure on this first tab called General, we want to make sure that the checkbox is selected for split billing master matter. By default, it will not be, because the system doesn't know this is a split bill matter until you check that box. Okay? Watch what happens when I deselect it. See that little tab that disappeared right there? I select it, I get a split billing tab. I deselect it, that tab goes away. So when you open up that master matter in accounting and you click that little checkbox for split billing matter, you're going to get that little tab. Okay? Now, for that tab, this is where you set your submatters. Okay? So when you go to this window, these are going to be deleted. This is going to be blank. Okay? You're not going to have anything in here. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add your submatters. Okay? So I just click my little add button, and right here where it says submatter number, I'm going to click the arrow, and I'm going to go find John. Okay? And I'm going to double click on John. And then once I have John in there, I'm going to choose my percent of fees that John is going to cover. Remember, split billing is always done by percentage. It's never done by dollar amount. Always done by percentage. So if John's picking up 50%, then I'm going to select John's record, and I'm going to put in the proper percentage, 50, okay, for fees. If it's the same for costs, I'm putting in 50 for costs. That's pretty normal if you're splitting things down the middle. But you get to make that decision. What percentage of fees is John going to cover? What percentage of fees or costs is John going to cover? Okay? So once I have that first submatter in there, there it is. Now I can add my second submatter. So I click Add. I go find my secondary submatter, Sally. I select, and I put in the percentage of fees and the percentage of costs that Sally's going to cover. Okay? Now once I click OK, that is going to save our settings, and we'll see now our 2 submatters listed in the matter maintenance window. Notice here it tells you the total percentage. Normally, that should always be 100, okay? If it doesn't say 100, you're probably missing some money allocation somewhere. So you'll want to double check that, okay? Or maybe add that third, sub client who's going to be picking up whatever the remaining percentage fee is, okay? But in the end, you should have a list right here that shows all of your sub matters and sub clients, okay? And the percentage each one is covering, and the total should be 100. Okay? Remember though, none of this can be done until you click that checkbox. All right? So after you have everything set up in AbacusLaw, you've got your master matter created, you've got your sub matters created, then you're going into Abacus Accounting, you're clicking that matters button, you're searching for your master matter, you're opening that master matter record, you are clicking the checkbox for split billing master matter, and you are setting your subs, okay, with the appropriate percentage allotments, okay? But you're not done yet. Don't forget, there's a billing format, okay? When you run your bills, the process of selecting the matters that you want to bill, totally the same as you normally would do it for any matter. Okay, that whole process is the same. What differs is the output, okay? The format of our bill, right? We've got a bill for Johnny, and we got a bill for Sally, right? That is why it is so important after you set up the split billing tab to go to the billing tab, okay, the second tab there that says billing, and make sure your billing format code is set to SB, okay? SB for split billing is not the default billing format code for new matters, okay? The default, I believe, is just general, okay? So you need to change that. You need to proactively go into this billing tab, change that little drop down to split billing. That is what tells the program the format of the bill. So now the system knows, hey, I got to do a bill for Johnny, I got to do a bill for Sally, and they got to have specific details on there. All right. Now, all the other rules here still apply as they do for other billing scenarios. Like, most of your split bills are going to be an hourly, monthly type deal, or potentially an hourly end of matter type deal. Kind of just depends on the practice area, the legal area. So all of that really stays the same, that you would do for any type of matter. Okay, don't forget to set your bill distribution as well. Okay, do you want it to go to a printer? Do you want it to go to the email, so on and so forth? All right. Now that is how you are setting up the default settings, okay, for your split billing. Got to click the checkbox. Got to fill in the split billing tab with your sub clients and put in their fees, percentages, and then also make sure you change your billing format code to SB for split billing. Okay, and then when it's actually time to create your time tickets, to create your costs, your expenses and things like that, you can actually do it multiple ways. You can create the time ticket. Let me generate one real quick. You can create the time ticket and assign that time ticket to the master matter, or you can do it to the individual matters basis. It kind of just depends on how you want to do it. Now, I think good practice is for your time tickets and for your costs, do it to the master matter, because then you can go in later and you can split everything in one fell swoop. Okay, that's really, I think, the most efficient and the most controlled way to do it. So for instance, let's say we had a 2-hour meeting, okay, with these two people, okay, and we bill this matter at $300 an hour. So that would be, $600. So what I would do is I would come into my little time ticket window and I would choose my master matter, just like you normally would for any time ticket that you're creating or for any cost and expense that you're creating. And then I'm going to choose the master matter when that window pops up. Forgive me, my computer has been running a little bit slow today. And then eventually you're filling out, that information the exact same way you would any sort of time ticket. Okay, so I'm going to choose my master matter. Okay, notice my system knows the rate that I am billing this matter at because I set that up in my default preferences when I create the case. Okay, I can put in an activity code here as well if I need to. I personally force activity codes. You do not need to, but you can. Okay, I'll say that this was a communication with the firm. Okay, and then I put in my hours up here. We'll say it was 2-hour meeting. Okay, and I'll say communicate with client in office to discuss settlements or something like that. Okay, I've got my little note in here that's going to show on my bill. Okay, notice over here I have my rate that the matter is being billed at, and I have my total value for my time ticket. All right, 600, right? Because 300 times 2, 600. So now I'm going to click done. Okay, I'm done with that. That goes in there to my little queue. Beautiful. Okay, now watch what I do when it's time to split out all that time. Because remember, in a real world scenario, we're knocking out all these time tickets every day. Before we know it, we got 100 time tickets assigned to that master matter. We got costs for court reporting fees and filing fees, and we've got administrative expenses that we've piled up onto that master matter. Now it's time to split up. Okay, we always go to our billing drop-down menu and we split our time and costs before we run our bill. Okay, before we go into the billing process to actually generate the invoice, we always go here first for our split billing matters. Okay, and again, that's just billing, split time, and or costs. Okay, and when you open this window, you get to select the master matter that you're wanting to target. So I'm going to choose my master matter from my matters list, and look at that. There's our time ticket. See that time ticket we just created? We can see it here. Okay, time ticket number 2. It was for some fees, 2 hours. Total amount is $600. Okay, now in real life, this window is probably going to be full, right? When you target that master matter, you're going to see a bunch of different time tickets in here. You're going to see a bunch of different costs potentially, but you can open these up by double clicking on them. Okay, and you can print these. You can preview the pre-bill if you want to. You can print out the preview or the pre-bill if you want to hand it over to the attorney for them to look at and things like that. Okay, but once you see this here, once you look at this detail, you can see this 2-hour $600 time ticket. Look how it's split for us. John Harper's matter is picking up 1 hour at $300. Sally picking up 1 hour at $300. So it's going to split it for us. Now, obviously, that's a pretty easy one to split, right? We're pretty good at basic math, at least I know I am. That more advanced stuff, though, you start throwing a bunch of decimal places in there, a bunch of change, maybe a little bit, more difficult. So it's nice to have this utility that does it for you. Okay, it'll split it for you. Once you've, looked at this and maybe previewed your pre-bill and said, yeah, this looks good, let's go ahead and move on. Now you're going to click that Process All button. Okay, it's going to say, are you sure you want to split these? This cannot be undone, by the way. Okay, that's why this little window pops up to alert you of that. So be certain that you have previewed these items and you have, you've signed off on them, or the attorney has signed off on them. Because to go back and correct it means to do some sort of reverse journal entry, some sort of negative adjustment to the bottom line of the invoice. It can end up being a pain. So, be diligent in checking your work before you commit. It will make your life a lot easier in the end. Okay, so we will assume that I just checked everything and it's beautiful. So I'm going to click yes here. We are sure. And there we go. All items have been split successfully. And when we run that bill, it's going to look pretty. going to look exactly the way it's supposed to. Okay, one for Johnny, one for Sally. All right. Now, all the other features still apply. You can still look at the matter billing activity for your matters. Okay, if you look up a master matter in here, you can still see everything. Okay, notice you have these, and it tells you the description. Split fees move to a submatter, split fees move to a submatter, okay, with the proper statuses and all that good stuff. So it'll tell you what the ending balances is. And you can get basically just kind of like a more granular breakout of the billing detail by date range. Okay, notice my date range options there. Okay, but everything after that is exactly the same as you would do for any bill that you're running. All right, so it's all about setting up your matters correctly. It's all about setting up your matters correctly. So just to recap, we always start in Abacus Law. All right, first we create our master matter. Okay, we create a name record that is named similar to our master matter's name. Okay, so I called this master matter Dr. Smith Malpractice Master Matter. I called the name record that's linked as the bill to, I called that Dr. Smith Malpractice. Okay, then we created our submatter. We created a matter called Dr. Smith Malpractice John Harper, and then we linked a name record that was John Harper's to the matter as the billing party. Same thing for Sally. We created a matter record called Dr. Smith Malpractice Sally Walters, and we linked Sally Walters' name record to that matter as the billing party. Once that is completed, everything we do is in accounting. Okay, we go into our accounting program, we open our matter, master matter here in our matter maintenance window, and we make sure that we select our checkbox for split billing master matter, and we go to our split billing tab, and we add those two submatters. Okay, really at this point it's the subclients basically is what you're referring to, and then that's when we put in the percentage of fees and costs that each one is going to cover. All right. Then we can go into our master matter maintenance window, and we can set our split billing format code, okay, for or on our billing tab. Okay. So we have a question here. I'm sorry. And once you have all that done, everything else is, basically the same. I can show you here. Let's do another time ticket real quick and see if it'll let us preview. I was having a little issue with my preview window before. It wasn't opening correctly. But let's just try one and see. Either way, Amy, for your question about processing the split, what it looks like, it's going to look just like it does on any normal bill, only you're going to have a bill for each individual person. Okay, so really the content of the bill is going to be identical for each bill, only it's going to be, the monetary values and the time will be split is what it is. So let's go ahead and just say this is a communication. I'll say it's 1 hour. We'll save that. Ignore. And if I go into my billing drop-down menu and go do split time and costs, remember, always do this prior to your running your bill. Okay, and I look up my matter. There it is. Okay, I can open this up. And I do have a preview. Let me see if it'll let me preview this from this window. I was having an issue with it earlier. Let's see. Yeah, a little error there. This has to do with that. That won't do that on your end. It has to do with my PDF viewer. There's a little issue with that. But if you've ever ran a bill before, it looks pretty much the same as any bill. Just remember, you get two versions, right? You get one for client A and one for client B. Okay. Any other questions out there? And if you've never ran a bill before, like I said, if you've never ran a bill, click that link in the chat box. That has the videos on how to run your pre-bill, how to run your print bill, and how to post your bill. Okay, so obviously you need to know how to do that before you even mess around with split billing. That should be something everybody on this webinar has already done before. So, but just in case, that video should help you out. Okay, any questions about setting up your matters for split billing. Hopefully that all made sense. If any questions arise when you are trying this yourself, please email training@abacusnext.com. We will definitely contact you and get you squared away on that. Make sure that you're not struggling for too long on that. We'll help you out. Also, don't forget to check your reference guides. Okay, there are reference guides built in to both your Abacus Law and your Abacus Accounting program underneath your help menus. Okay, if you click the little help button right there, that will open up a searchable PDF that allows you to search terms, and you could type in split billing, and it will show you all the ins and outs of split billing inside of that guide, and basically walk you through how to do it. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. So, Amy, I'll send you a print screen of what it looks like once I get that corrected. But just so you know, you're not actually processing the bill. Nothing is actually posted until you post the bill. So you can run through the pre-bill process and the print bill process without it actually being finalized, just so you know. So you should probably take a look at those steps in that video that I linked there, and it'll walk you through that. Yeah, I don't want you to feel like, if you click a button on printing your bill that, somehow that magically sends it to the client. It doesn't do that. Yeah, well, okay, so you're clarifying, you're talking about when you process the split. Well, processing the split is different than processing the bill. So if you're splitting time and cost, it shows you exactly how it's going to be split out. So there's nothing really to preview there. It's basically just math. If you have a $300 fee for some sort of meeting, and Johnny's covering 50% of it, Sally's covering 50% of it, it's just doing the math. Johnny's gonna, it's gonna say Johnny has 150 for 1 hour on his bill, and Sally has 150 for 1 hour on their bill, and then it would reference, whatever the event is that you're billing for. Meeting with client to discuss settlement, something like that. But yeah, I'll send you a screenshot just to cover that base for you. Any other questions out there? Okay, we'll give it one more minute just to see if any other ones come in. And again, most of the questions arise when you're trying it yourself. So feel free to email us, like I've said. Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in. So I appreciate everybody's attendance. Great questions, Amy, on your part. I'll follow up with you offline with that. Each of you will be getting a recording of this webinar as well, so feel free to review that and ask any questions that you'd like. And again, if you have any future suggestions on future topics, we'd love to hear them. Just email webinars@abacusnext.com. We will try our best to incorporate those into future sessions. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.